Hey guys, Michael from Fire and Brilliance, and today's Geminar is going to be a special one. We're going to go over custom jewelry and 4 reasons why people love to custom jewelry in 2022, and I'm going to get right into it. All right, guys. So again, welcome to the live stream. This is something that we're going to be doing for our Geminars for the foreseeable future. These live stream Geminars. Okay, so today's episode will be about 4 reasons why people custom jewelry in the year of 2022. Now, the first one is the fact that they are not attracted to mass-produced items. What do I mean by this? Okay, so have you ever actually gone to a jewelry store, or have you ever been to the mall and walked into one of those jewelry stores with rings, engagement rings, pendants, earrings, whatever kind of jewelry you're into, and there are these pieces that are there? Yes, they are beautiful, but sometimes it just doesn't match your style. There's a reason for that. It's because it's mass produced. And sometimes, if you are a person that does not want something that's mass produced, it may not be for you. And therefore, custom jewelry might be the reason. Number two, the reason why people actually prefer something else is because they want a piece that is unique and one of a kind. What does that mean? When you custom jewelry, what you're able to do is actually express yourself. You're able to personalize that piece of jewelry to fit your taste, your style, your wants, and your needs, okay, when it comes to custom jewelry. So number three, the third reason why people do not want mass-produced items and prefer custom jewelry is because they want the ownership of their own masterpiece. What do I mean by this? If you are creating a piece that's unique to yourself, then chances are that piece is going to be very unique to yourself because that's your own taste, your own liking, your own wants, and your own needs. So the chances of anyone else having a duplicate of that piece is very, very unlikely, right? So because it's obviously your own custom piece. Now, that said, number four, the reasons why people prefer custom jewelry is because they get exactly what they want. So as you can see here, all 4 points from beginning to end is very, very similar. If you are going to get exactly what you want, then you're basically going to own that own masterpiece. It's going to be unique to yourself, and at the same time, you're not attracted to the mass-produced items. All right, so let's go ahead and quickly break down what does custom jewelry entail. Okay, so which materials will you use? As you can take a look here at the diagram here, or the graphic here, you can take a look at the stone type, stone shape, stone cut, as well as metal type and setting type. Okay, so these are just some very big picture type of ideas as to what you can choose, but let's go ahead and break it down as to exactly what you can do. Again, jewelry, like anything else, you can really customize it, especially when it comes to jewelry. First and foremost, let's talk about metal type. Depending if you want precious metals or other types of contemporary metals, we're specifically speaking on precious metals here, especially if you're looking for a specific type of high-end type of jewelry. The metal types are available to most people when it comes to precious metals is silver, gold, palladium, and platinum. Now, keep in mind that even if you're going with silver or gold or palladium and platinum, there are different types of purities as well too. Okay, so which basically means, do you prefer a higher purity in gold, palladium, platinum, and silver, or do you prefer a lower purity? So for example, a lot of times you may see gold as in 10K gold or 14K gold or 18K gold or 22K gold or 24K gold. All that basically means is how pure it is in terms of the actual amount of gold that you're getting in that piece of jewelry. If you are getting 24K gold, that is as pure as it gets. It's 100% gold. Now, the way you want to do the math on is, if you're getting 14K, then all you have to do is get 14 divided by 24, and it should land anywhere between about 58.33%, if I can remember correctly. Okay, 18K over 24K would be 75% gold, and so on and so on. So the lower the purity, the lower the K. So in other words, 10K will be a lower purity than a 14K, lower than 18K, 22K, 24K. So that's the same when it comes to palladium and platinum. However, they don't measure it that way. They measure it totally different ways. If you see 90 palladium or 90 gold or 900. All that means is 90% palladium or platinum. Okay, so that's how it works. And so in terms of metal purities, now in terms of metal colors, obviously you could also choose if you want white metal or white gold, palladium or platinum or silver, or if you want it to be mixed with other metals to create a specific type of color, such as rose gold, right? And white gold is also mixed with white metals to create white gold, because at the end of the day, pure gold is gold or yellow gold, right? So that is actually pure gold. So if you prefer the classic color, that's yellow gold. So that, in terms of just metal types alone, you already have so many options, right? What kind of purities you want, as well as what kind of color do you want, and what kind of metal type do you prefer, silver, palladium, platinum, or gold. So let's go ahead and move on to the next slide here. The other options that you can choose is the stone type. What I'm referring to here is not necessarily the stone shape, but the stone type. Are you into lab grown, or are you into naturals? Even if you're into lab grown naturals, most lab grown nowadays will also have the natural form. So in other words, are you interested in moissanite and diamonds and sapphire and ruby and alexandrite and emerald and tourmaline? And there's so many other gemstones out there too, right? So it just really depends on what you're into. Are you into opals? Are you into pearls? Or what are you into? So the different types of gemstones will determine your own uniqueness to your specific piece of jewelry. So obviously you can see that in the graphics here, you can see moissanite diamonds. Those are more white, clear stones. Whereas if you're into sapphires, they also come in blues and reds and, sorry, not blue, blues and purples. So you can also definitely get pinks as well, pink sapphires. And tourmaline is also a pink stone. There's also green emeralds, alexandrites changes colors and depending on the lighting, and obviously a red ruby, right? So what kind of stone type are you interested in? And that's actually very important for people that are going after an engagement ring. If they are interested in a specific center stone, obviously decide on that stone type and do a little more research as to what you like in terms of the stone type. Now, even for the stones, the type alone is not good enough, because now you have to determine what kind of a shape you're interested in. So what do I mean by shape? All that means is exactly what I'm saying. It's the shape of the stone. So are you interested in the round, the cushions, the ovals, the emeralds, the hearts, the radiants? Obviously, there are way more shapes than just these on here, but there's also pairs and radiants, as well as ovals, right? So there's just so many different other shapes, triangles and trillions and shields and all the odd shapes as well, from hexagons to octagons. It just really depends on what you're interested in. So after you're choosing your specific stone type, obviously, depending on what kind of a shape you're interested in, to go with that specific shape for that stone type. Now, after that, that is not enough, right? Because not only do you choose a stone type and stone shape, now you have to think about the stone cuts. Yes, there are different types of cuts as well. There's a step cut, as you can see here. What a step cut is exactly what you'll see. It's more of a parallel type of faceting. It looks as if there are mirrors in between, top to bottom, left to right. It's very symmetrical. If you're into that look, that's called a step cut. A brilliant cut will maximize the fire, the brilliance, the sparkle of a gemstone. So that's actually the most popular of most gemstones. Most people do go for a brilliant cut. If you're more into that crushed ice look, it looks exactly like crushed ice. Basically, you put crushed ice in a glass before pouring some water in it. That's exactly the type of faceting technique looks like, where it looks as if it's crushed ice or vintage. Now, vintage cuts are more of an heirloom cut from many, many years ago, before the brilliant cut came out. So that's, if you want to think about it, it's a brilliant cut of the centuries before now, right? So those are more of the vintage cuts. It's still very beautiful. It's just the facets are a lot larger than the current modern brilliant cut. So those are the stone cut types. Obviously, there are more, but these are the four main the four main stone cuts. Okay, so that said, those are some of the different options that you want to pick, not only from metal types to stone types, but let's go ahead and start going into very specific designs. Okay, so let's just say you've already decided on the metal that you want, the metal type that you want, the metal color that you want, the stone type that you want, the stone cut, and the stone shape. Right, obviously the stone size, right? We won't have to go over that. That's pretty self-explanatory in terms of how big you want it, how many carats you want it, right? That's the stone size. But let's go ahead and go over the design factor. What type of setting types are you interested in? As you can see here, these are some of the main setting types from a bezeled set. What is a bezel set? A bezel set is exactly what you see. There is a stone that is covered by a wall of metal all around. That's called a bezel set. Whereas a channel set is similar to a bezel set, but the only difference is that you line up the gemstones along a wall of metal that wraps around a bunch of gemstones together. That's called a channel set. Okay, and a prong set is pretty self-explanatory. I believe most people understand what a prong set is. There's just 2 or 3 or 4 prongs, sometimes 6 prongs, sometimes 8 prongs, depending on how big the stone is or depending on the design, that holds the gemstones in place. In this case, what you're seeing here are shared double prongs that are holding gemstones in between each other. Okay, now one of the most popular setting types these days are called pave sets. What pave sets are just gemstones lined up together where the metal is minimized as much as possible so that it looks as if the gemstones are just floating on the ring. Right. Obviously, there's metal there to hold it into place, but the metal type or the metal is actually minimized to really bring out the gemstones as opposed to just showing the metal. So there are different types of paves, right? So when you are shopping or working with a custom jeweler or customizing your own ring, do understand the different type. There's micro pave, which is what you see in the top left corner. There's French pave, which is what you see on the top right corner, and there's a honeycomb pave, which is what you see at the bottom. So these are all pave types. The only difference is that the type of setting, the type of design on that specific setting is will determine the different types of pave setting. So again, it gives it a different look. To be honest with you, with the naked eye, many times people really can't catch it unless they look at the ring regularly. But these are different types of pave setting. Okay, there are pros and cons of pave setting. I do want to let you know now. The pro is that if you are into showing off the gemstones and really want to minimize the metal, then it's a beautiful, beautiful look. However, because of the minimal amount of metal on the setting, many times these gemstones that are on the pave setting is actually quite normal occurrence, may fall out. So it does require a little more maintenance over the course of time for resetting, replacing gemstones that may fall out over the course of time. So that is the only knock on pave setting. But again, it's a very, very popular look and feel. As long as you take care of your jewelry, then you should be fine. All right, so those are the different types of settings. Now, let's talk about the different placement of gemstones on the ring. Now, when I'm referring to placements, what am I talking about? I'm talking about where are we setting the gemstones, right? So there's a center stone, which is usually the main attraction. Usually that's the largest stone on the setting. It doesn't necessarily mean that would be the case because some people prefer to be unique. Sometimes the center stone may be smaller than other gemstones, but it just really depends on the person. But I'd say 99% of the times, the center stone is the main attraction, which is the largest stone of the engagement ring. There's also a multi-stone, which means you have a 7-stone, a 3-stone, a 5-stone ring, which is what you see on the right-hand side. The first picture on the left would be a 7-stone ring, and the one on the right is a 3-stone setting. Okay, as you can see, the center stone is the largest gemstone, and the other 2 stones are really just the side stones, if anything at all, to really amplify that center stone look. All right. And then there are also the halo designs is what you see on the left-hand side as well as on the right-hand side of the bottom 2 pictures. That halo is just a line of gemstones that go around the center stone to really magnify the center stone. But all of these are considered accent stones. What accent stones are gemstones that are on the setting that is not the main attraction. Those are the accent gemstones. They're usually smaller. And again, these accent gemstones can be any stone shape, size, and type as well. It doesn't have to just be diamonds or moissanite. It could be ruby sapphires or emeralds or anything else that you like. All right. So that said, that's a gemstone placement. Now, let's go ahead and move on to the next slide here. We're talking about the final step, the aesthetics, right? This is usually the most complicated part, not necessarily for an experienced designer, but for the person that's making the decision. Because if you think about it, choosing the metal type, metal color is based on style, based on what you like, and it's a simple pick. Choosing the center stone shape, size, and type and cut, that could be something that you can really narrow down. And then obviously choosing the type of setting type, micropave, channel set, bezel set, it's really up to you, prong set, right? That could be a lot easier as well. If you like a multi-stone, center stone, or you like accent stones, that could be quite simple. But however, if you want to add an additional aesthetics to your setting, then the sky is truly the limit as long as your designer knows what they're doing, right? So there are different types of designs. There's filigree, there's milligrane, there's classic plain that you can, set the stone east and west. You could go with a vintage look. You could go with a modern look. You can add your own designs to it. If you want to add, your favorite picture of your cat on your ring, if you want to add a specific animal design, if you want to add anything at all, if you're working with an experienced jeweler, they should be able to do it. So that's the aesthetics. Now, however, again, to like anything at all, there are pros and cons. If you are really the type of person that really wants something extravagant that's unique to yourself, then you can definitely go for it. But remember, this is a final piece of jewelry that is custom made. When you do make custom jewelry, it may be really fun to go all out, but sometimes people like to keep it simple as well. So sometimes keeping it simple may make the piece of jewelry look better depending on the person. Okay, and other people just love the extravagant look. So this step, which is the last step, the aesthetics, depending on your type of personality, your style, and your taste, will really determine what you can do. Some people prefer not to add anything additional, and some people want to add everything, all the bells and whistles to it. So this is actually the final step, which is usually the most fun for most designers. All right, so that said, the way I want to wrap it up here is that those are the reasons why people actually prefer custom jewelry, because you get exactly what you want and you do not need to settle for anything that's mass produced. It's unique to yourself. You have ownership of the masterpiece and you get exactly what you want in all of the aspects of custom jewelry, from top to bottom, A to Z, left to right, top to bottom. Okay, so but the only difference here is, just because you want to custom jewelry, keep in mind that it's very important that you're mindful of who is customizing your jewelry. It's important that you shop for the experienced jeweler, okay, that knows what they're doing. So that's my little tip to you guys, is only because if you are going to custom jewelry and if someone that's just started out may not know what they're doing, so it's important that you work with a custom jeweler. Are they specialize in custom jewelry? Do they know what they're talking about? Do they have designers? Do they manufacture? Have they been around for a while? Are they reputable? And at the same time, can they actually bring your ideas and put it to life, right? That's a true custom jeweler, because many people may not understand that just because a person is in the jewelry business doesn't necessarily mean that they are a custom jeweler. For example, if someone that is selling watches 100% of the times may know everything about watches, it doesn't necessarily mean that they know anything about custom jewelry. Someone may know something all about earrings or loose stones. It doesn't necessarily mean they know anything about custom jewelry. So it's very important that you find the right custom jeweler that knows what they're talking about, that's been in the business for a long time, that's been very reputable, and can definitely pinpoint exactly what you want, have the tools, equipment, and be able to render you a CAD image before producing it, so that you are happy with what you see before even having to fully commit to creating that piece. Okay, so that said, I hope you guys enjoyed what you are seeing here, and I hope you learned something new in terms of custom jewelry and why people are more inclined to custom their own piece of jewelry in the year of 2022. And if you guys are into these types of Geminars, we just made a very beautiful Geminar last week about something that is unique, and that is actually a salt and pepper moissanite. If you miss out on that episode, just make sure you click right here. Okay, it's not going to show right now, but because we're on a live stream, but as soon as the live stream is over, you'll be able to see that link, and then you should be able to click it to learn more about the salt and pepper, or a custom and beautiful, unique moissanite that we went over last week. Thanks again, guys. And again, in the future, if you guys have any questions for me, we can potentially do a Q&A. Thank you, and I'll see you next week. Goodbye.